In the world of Subnautica, that is planet 4546b, there are a lot of flora and fauna to interact with. One of the ways you can interact with said flora and fauna is by tossing them in a bioreactor for fuel. As with the original game, there are plenty of different options people claim as the best bioreactor fuel. Just like with the first game though, I would rather look at the numbers and see for myself. So this video is about what the best bioreactor fuel options are in Subnautica Below Zero. Now the power values for the various flora, fauna, and other fuel items can be found on the wiki. If you don't trust the wiki, then you can always test them yourself by tossing an item in a bioreactor and then consuming a measurable amount of power, such as with an empty power cell. Or you can just dig into the game files and find the values there. Of course, values shown in this video are current as of the time it is being produced, but values could always change with future updates. One quick thing to note before we dive in, there still seems to be some confusion, at least with new players, about power. So a bioreactor can hold a maximum of 500 power at a time, which means any item that generates more than 500 power will not transfer power to any other bioreactor or any other power source. So that squid shark you tossed in will only power the one bioreactor until the 700 power it generates is taken from it. The advantage of multiple bioreactors is not really capacity, but how fast they generate power, with each one generating 1 power every 1.2 seconds or 50 power per minute. Now when you ask someone what is the best bioreactor fuel, you can get a lot of different answers. You may think of the best fuel as the one with the most power for each item. In that case, you can see here the top 5 items for bioreactor power as far as how much each single one will produce. A glow well will produce 840 power for each one placed in a bioreactor. That may seem like a good amount, but is it really a good amount? A glow well is a big creature, so how can you really compare it to a smaller creature like a bladderfish? The next option is how much power an item generates per inventory slot it uses. This means a glow well using 16 slots of inventory space can be more accurately compared to a bladderfish using just 1 slot. When you gauge the power values this way, you see a completely different top 5 set of options. The root globule gives you 700 power for a single inventory slot, just as an Arctic peeper gives you 350 power for a single inventory slot. After all, another factor of inventory size is how many of an item can fit in a bioreactor at one time. A glow well takes up 16 slots in a 4x4 configuration, so you can only have one in a bioreactor. A root globule takes up just a single slot, so you can fill a bioreactor with 16 at one time. This makes the top 5 options based on power per slot a big difference. A root globule filled bioreactor will produce 11,200 power before it is empty. Now that is a good bit of power. From here, you can keep going a lot of different ways. You can see what the top 5 fuel sources that can be farmed are. By the way, that nice root globule isn't farmable, but you can, by comparison, toss a couple of Arctic peepers in your new extra large alien containment and let them give you an energy stockpile. You could also think about what fuel items are also best for food and water, or which fuel items are most common between biomes. The variations go on, but it's really going to come down to your playstyle. To this day, I still see comments on the Subnautica Bioreactor Fuels video about the sea treader feces being the best, despite it really being mediocre. This is just people thinking it is best based on how they play. For me, the best fuel options are the ones I don't have to keep going out and manually harvesting, which is why I will not be going out and getting root globules all the time to power my bioreactors. In terms of total raw power, the root globule is going to be the best fuel because it's going to give you the most power in a single bioreactor. But for me, the Arctic Peeper and Triops are renewable, which makes them the king bioreactor fuels in the game now. So if you like the idea of going out and gathering up a lot of root globules, bladderfish, or even creepvine sea clusters, go right ahead and play the way you want. I'll just be kicking my feet up while I watch my fuel supply grow in the alien containment.